Wherever you are, welcome to another of my takes on China, and I'm here to tell you that the BBC have done it again. Lies, misinformation, media manipulation. You can decide when you've seen the video, and I'd love your comments on this because this is just quite a good one for the BBC. But let me start by saying that the one thing China does very well is to care for its elders. My mother and father-in-law, both around 80 years of age, get income from the village. They get pensions. It's not rural anymore. They're completely surrounded by factories, but when they were young, it was the rural heartland of Guangdong province. They get pensions from the work that they had. They have gifts given to them by the village council, the elected village council, every festival. They get free trips once a year to a place in another province. And a couple of years ago, they went all the way to Shandong on the other side of the country with a group of people from a village. Last year, they chose not to go because my mother-in-law had a sore knee trouble. They get free annual medical checks. They can go to the community hall any day of the week that they want to go for a medical consultation. They can have their blood pressure checked and a referral to a hospital specialist if there's something wrong that the nurse there can't help them with. Not one of these things costs them a cent. When they do get to see a specialist in the hospital, the fee is the same as mine. I was there last year. It cost 19 RMB to see a specialist. That's what a doctor's appointment costs in our local hospital. They also get free Tai Chi classes and free lessons on how to use their phone. They get free transportation on all the city's public transport, and if they go into city, they have cheaper fares to get there, and once they're there, they get free bus and metro on the other cities' transportation systems. They pay no income tax after they retire from work. They are also, as I've reported in a previous video that I made with my local newspaper, subsidized canteens where they can go and get a meal. Usually it's 2 meats, 2 vegetables, as well as soup and rice for as little as 9 to 12 RMB. That's about a British pound or $1.50 at most. There's no inheritance tax in China. There's no property tax in China. There's no capital gains tax in China. Every person has free use of the land that they have built their homes on or farmed until they either die, or if they happen to be lucky enough to live there past the 70 years that the land use was registered to them, they can start another 70 years, and as long as they leave it in their family, it remains theirs until that period has passed too, and then can be renewed. If they live in rural regions, they have land use forever, as long as the family stays on the farm. Overall, most people who've worked all their lives in China are better off when they reach retirement than they were when they were working. It's hardly surprising that the country encourages these elders to travel. They have free time and they have money. Visit other places. Enjoy your retirement years while you're still active. So when I saw Stephen McDonnell, the most jaded and ill-mannered reporter that I've ever had the misfortune to meet, telling lies about China again, I felt the need to put this right. A good friend of mine here in China, Darren, who goes by the name of Darren in China, sent me a link to this video in the BBC. And I'll put the link here so you can watch it if you want. But if I show parts of the video, there's a strong possibility that the BBC will complain about me and have me sanctioned by YouTube for copyright infringement. So I'm not showing the actual video, maybe just some stills from it. Let me start by saying, in my opinion, McDonnell knows he's lying. I hope he is misinforming his employers who don't know, but I fear that perhaps, being the BBC, he's acting under their instructions to find negative reports on China. If that's the case, then the BBC are being disingenuous by producing this as if it were true. It's not. And the video is called Aboard China's Silver Trains, Taking Pensioners to Tourist Spots to Offset Tariffs. And there's the first lie in the title. These have been going on for years. This is nothing at all to do with tariffs, but I'm going to be generous here and suggest that might just be clickbait, as the tariffs are a hot topic. But they're also nothing at all to do with pensioners. After the introduction, McDonnell is invited to tell us what it's all about, and he makes what might be the only true statement of the video. China's going through a hard time and is hoping that everyone, not just pensioners, will save less and spend more to stimulate the domestic economy. Except he lies about this and says this is about pensioners. It's not. He says he's in Beijing Station. I don't know if that's true or it's a lie, but then the first image he shows us is of a purple-colored train with the name Star Express. This is not a new train, nor is it a train that runs from Beijing Station. The Star Express doesn't run from Beijing to anywhere. It's a train that started operation in October 2024, before Trump was even elected, and runs from Yunnan into Vientiane, the capital of Laos. Why would McDonald lie about this? Because he's a liar, that's the only reason I can think of. But why would the BBC publish this lie? So McDonald is either lying to them, or his lies are being accepted by the BBC as okay. He holds an interview with a man on the train who is clearly from Hong Kong. We hear him singing karaoke in Cantonese and speaking English to the camera with a very clear and very strong Hong Kong accent, although few of BBC viewers would realize that it's not China. It's locals here who would notice that. Interesting that McDonald, who apparently speaks some Mandarin, would not mention that this person is a Hong Kong pensioner. Whether he's living on the mainland or not, neither here nor there. He then goes for a tour, McDonald this is, with the train staff, and she points out the safety features. Look, here's a handrail, the train attendant tells him. It's for safety, which she says clearly, and that's true. But all trains have the same handrail along the corridors, and any person who's been on a train would know that. Perhaps McDonald hasn't been on a train in China, but for sure, that's not there specifically for pensioners. The room he shows us has a phone. Now that's normal in any luxury room, even on a train. There are a few rolling around China and they're nothing to do with pensioners. You can take a luxury train through Tibet or Xinjiang. These things have been around for years, and you can do trips through Yunnan and into Laos, which this one is. And there's an emergency button, he says. I've seen this in every train toilet I've been onto. They aren't specially put there for pensioners, but pensioners might be the ones using them. And there's a defibrillator, which is normal. Every train has them, and every platform on every train station, as well as every metro station in Beijing, Guangzhou, and many other cities. McDonald lives in Beijing, has one of these. He mentions nothing of this in his video. Not one of these has anything to do with tariffs, and every one of these has been in operation since before Trump became president the second time. Some of the features were in place before he even became president the first time. So the BBC has published a nothing story. Their man in Beijing is lying about it and expects his audience will be stupid enough to believe that in the 2 weeks since Trump imposed tariffs, China has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on refurbishing trains, rescheduled them onto lines that have hundreds of trains a day, organized crossings of borders with them, and all because Trump imposed tariffs and China wants pensioners to suddenly spend their money in the poorer areas of the country and travel. This is a man who lived here through the entire process of poverty alleviation and claims to understand. He's an expert on China and its rural revitalization and its moderate prosperity strategies. Let's be honest, McDonald doesn't understand the Chinese at all, or if he did, he's the greatest liar and a psychopath too, because only a psychopath would be able to sleep at night knowing they make their living from lies. And here's an interesting thing. The comment section below knows he's lying too. Those that have made comments have said that this is a great thing, which it is. But almost every second comment tells the BBC that this has nothing to do with tariffs. It seems social media now knows the BBC can't be trusted. If you're watching this and would like to point out to the BBC that they're liars, please feel free to share this link with them. I know McDonald won't see this unless you do, because he's blocked me on all social media accounts many years ago after I called out another of his blatant lies. So thank you very much for watching this take on China, this take on the BBC. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.